Oh, hello. You caught me at a bit of a vulnerable moment there. Welcome. I'm just over here in Hollywood and getting ready to do some big old Hollywood things. But before I get into that, I thought this is a perfect time for us to tackle a fourth VQnA, where I'm going to answer some questions, that being every comment that was on VQnA number 3. This is VQnA number 4, so if there are any more comments posted on VQnAs 1, 2, or 3, they don't mean anything. We're only going to look at comments that are on this video for the next one. And I got them loaded up on my phone here, so we can just start diving right in. Not as many as last time, so this should not be ridiculously long like last time. First comment from Drift219 is first. Second comment from Clinical is second. Next comment is me, saying third. And then I am replied to by Michael Pytel, who says pie. Next comment is Rewind Remix NCS, who says, hey, amazing video. So if they all stay like this, it's going to be pretty darn quick, let me tell you. Now, oh, that's a long one. I'm going to go and sit down before we continue on like this. This next and first actual question comes from Lawrence Retiro, who says, Kelsey Grammer would be a great human version of Optimus. He's got the voice and the stash. Also, will you ever do another V-Paint video? The first one was really good, even though you didn't record the method of painting. I kind of got the idea of where you put the paint. And what are your thoughts about Edmund Macmillan's The Legend of Bumbo, a prequel game to The Binding of Isaac? Well, Lawrence, let me tell you, V-Paint is about to come back. I'm going to use V-Paint to talk about a custom I made using some Shapeways parts and some rubber labels, and that is the next V-Paint, V-Paint number 2. As for The Legend of Bumbo, I don't know nothing about it. I know that name, and I know who made it, but I haven't looked into it at all yet. I probably should, because I like Binding of Isaac a whole lot. Next comment is from Ivan Barajas, who says, God, you love your Coke Zero. God knows I do. And, oh, then he says, and Chris does too. Okay. He does. Paige Miller says, I have a strange habit of associating different toys with different sensory stimulation. Like, GoBots make me think about wafer chocolate. If I so much as hear the word Psy-Kill, my mouth starts to water with the sensual craving of crunchy chocolate. Is there something wrong with me? No. I don't actually know what that symptom is, but I feel like the last thing that would be wrong with somebody would be thinking of wafer chocolate when they hear Psy-Kill. Maybe that's a little strange, but I don't think that that's wrong. That said, that doesn't really happen with me very much as far as like taste sensations. Those I don't really associate with things like Psy-Kill or toys. Toys for me is all tactile. It's all touch and feel. Second question, Combiner Wars Technobots, reviewed in one shot or in pieces like the other combiners? They were sold as a gift set, so they would be in one shot. Third question, I'm a greedy gal. Voltron Legendary Defender opinions. Are you picking up the Legendary Lions or the recently announced diecast Lion set? I got the Legendary Lions. Took me a while to get a red lion. The diecast ones, if I see them, I'll probably check them out, although I probably shouldn't because I should be satisfied with my big talky one. I think it's just the amount of time between when that came out and when the diecast ones are ostensibly going to come out that might get me to double dip for some of that diecast double metal. Randall Generosa. Yo, Vangelus, any plans on touching Make Toys cross-dimension line? Would love to see your point of view, as in your style of reviewing on the series and the individual unit transformer in the series. Yes, I like cross-dimension a lot. And now that Striker Noir's out, I'm feeling like I really should get through and do some reviewing of the other two that came before him. It's just a case of other things taking priority and the Striker Manus on my desk just being very patient. Nanubot says, Ear! I have committed an act of treason. I missed like 4 Vangelus videos. Burn me at the stake. No. No. We don't burn people. We just, you know, mousetrap them. Finger in the trap. Bam. You won't do something wrong like that again. Anyway, I'm going to leave a question here because I have nothing better to do. Where Crin Reviews at? Nah, JK. Do your thing, man. Crin Reviews are, they're not in my wheelhouse. That's not my production to make. But, you tell Crin you want some Crin Reviews, and that'll be a voice of the people speaking to the powers that be, as they say. Percy Constance, Have you read IDW's Till All Are One? What are your thoughts? Oh, Till All Are One, best book they're making. Hold on, what's... Ring, ring, sorry, what's that? Oh, it's canceled? Darn. But before it was canceled, best book in their Transformers oeuvre, and I'm hoping that that creative team can come back together sooner than later to continue some of that stuff. I like Till All Are One a lot. Did a lot of good character stuff and a lot of good story ideas specifically that I was happy to see. The best Combiner Wars story happened in there with the Combaticons. The best Titans Return stuff happened in there because actual Titans showed up. Really good stuff in Till All Are One. And now that it's going to be this digestible 12 issues in an annual plus the Windblade stuff that came before, like, Transformers fans who care about comic books should read through all that when it's available as like a couple of trades. Daniel Christian Smith, could you please do a review of some of the Junkion Blacksmith Headmaster figures and/or World's Smallest Transformers? Question mark. Also, please review Dark of the Moon Power Glide. Those things are all things that I probably could do. It's just that they're all, if priority is this light bulb, they're kind of like that light bulb. So whenever I think about them, I have something else that I probably and personally would rather do first, and then it's my bad time management. Just, you know, keep bringing up stuff and it'll all be sitting there in my head where I can think about them. That's a tricky name. We're going to move to a trickier location where I'll be able to process through this name and this question a little bit better. Hollywood's a strange place, you know? There's just stuff everywhere. Giant, menacing, dark walls, like this one. Kaio Catarino says, what's your favorite Kamen Rider series, story, toy? What's your favorite Kamen Rider series, story-wise and toys-wise? I think, toys-wise, the Gaim play pattern just really hit it for me. I like that a lot. As for story-wise, I liked the Gaim story a lot. I also really ended up enjoying Drive. X-Aid has been going really well. Double was fun. I'm a big fan of how the end of Blade played out. When it comes to your favorite Kamen Rider thing, like, I can come up with a reason why a good half of them are my favorite thing, so I'll cut myself off there. Daniel Christian Smith says, do you plan on doing a review on any of the Unique Toys Palm Collection Headmaster figures? I have the first two, so probably at some point, because I kind of want to pick up the others, but I've been making myself. I'm like, no, you can't review, you can't buy those until you review the 2-pack you already got. Pit ZX2, I hope one day you can get into JoJo. My first question, what are your thoughts on Sentai Figuarts practically being dead and the fact that the Kamen Rider number theory still persists to this day? The Kamen Rider number theory is becoming like one of those theories where anyone who has access to enough JPEGs can just make it a thing. As for Sentai Figuarts practically being dead, I think that they'll come back. I think that sales-wise right now it is clearly just not the time, but I don't think the door is closed. I just think the door is currently blocked by a whole lot of boxes that we need to wait for someone to move out of the way. Michael Brown, hey Vangelus, I'm an actor and glad you mentioned improv as being useful off the stage, but more Glyos when? That weird, different stuff is really neat. You review that kind of stuff so well, you handsome so and such muffin. So Glyos is something that I do want to continue going through. It is just falling into that priority ladder again, because I'm particular about how I want to do Glyos, and so straight up casual stuff right now doesn't feel right to me, and also my Glyos collection is a mess. So I really want to just finish the video I started years ago about the rig. Like, I wrote most of it, so I just need to shoot a bunch of it. But yeah, I'm just not good at spinning all the plates, but I do want to come back to that stuff, trust me. TZM Hero, hey Vangelus, is there a specific review that you use to show people unfamiliar with your channel what you do? If it's changed over the years, can you recall what the past videos were? What's a channel trailer? I don't know, because I haven't made one yet. I'm actually never very sure, because every time I think I know what video I think would represent me as a whole, usually people have a completely different answer. Like, a lot of people still go back to that Fans Project Colossus video, which I think is super outdated now. And everything that I did in that, I feel like I have done better elsewhere. So I don't know. Like, I think the Combiner Wars stuff that have those dramatized Gattai sequences are the ones I would go to, but I don't know which one. Probably one of the Unite Warrior sets, honestly, because that stuff's a little quicker and more straightforward. if I get Unite Warriors Bruticus's video done, that might be one, because that's also going to have like a review of the shuttle blast off kind of inside of it. 8-Bit Squirrel, do you play any tabletop role-playing games like D&D, Exalted, or etc.? No, I did play D&D twice at PAXs with friends, and I recently played Paranoia with Big Mike over of D20 Live. That was live streamed. I think there's an archive on their page, but otherwise, no. I only really like to play that stuff with people in person, and I'm not in the situation commonly enough where that happens. I would like to change that sometime. Percy Constance, do you think could do Masterpiece Officials combiners? I know Unite Warriors Devastator was close, but I mean style and articulation and size. I think they could release members individually and have a combiner sold separately that could turn into one mode of the members. If you mean like the combiner separates into just the vehicles, like I don't think that play pattern is digestible by the Transformers fandom for the most part. I don't think Masterpiece Combiners is wholly unrealistic. I feel like it's simply lower priority than a lot of the other singular characters that still have a lot of loud interest in them. So I feel like if Masterpiece Combiners would happen on an official level, it would probably be some years from now, and not anytime soon. Sarge133, hey Vangelus, what constitutes good fully posable hands? This. Would you rather have posable hands with individually posable fingers or multiple sets of pre-posed hands like Figuarts and Figma figures? Basically on small figures, I think that a number of different hands is more realistic and less prone to breakage and fault. But the bigger and thicker the fingers get, the more I would just like to see joints in them, is basically my approach. Red Watson, at the time of this recording, your banner on your YouTube homepage still reads 1 to 3 new videos each week, but with you slowing down a bit, will you take this off your banner? I understand life gets busy. I'm not complaining about this anyway, as your content is great at the end of the video. Quantity doesn't equal quality. It's just something I noticed. Basically, no, because if I spend the time and energy to go and tweak what the banner says when I slow down or speed up, that's time I should just be putting into making the 1 to 3 videos every week. So I just leave it there, because that way if I don't match up to it, then I just get an extra kick in my butt to try to get more stuff done. eZim93, how did you vote in the Power of the Primes vote, and are you happy with Primal winning? Also, I really hope you do a Gatai sequence if you get Legends, God Bomber, and Jinrai. I voted Unknown Evil, because that's what a good, sane person would vote for in a democratic situation, is the Unknown Evil. As for Gatai sequence with God Bomber and Jinrai, noted. Noted. eZim93 is the question I just read, so I'm going to go up 1 to Drunkenfish6. Is there any update to a figure character who is in G1 that you would like to see? For me, it would be Cybertron, Leo Breaker, or Armada Tidal Wave. I would love to see a Masterpiece Tidal Wave or a Leo Breaker that turns into a screen-accurate arm and good-looking robot. I got good news for you from 3 months ago. Between then and now, they announced Titan's Return Tidal Wave, and maybe that's not the best news for you, but that is an update to Tidal Wave, and it looks pretty darn okay. I actually haven't handled Broadside yet, so I don't know what that figure's like. But Tidal Wave is a character I would love to see become timeless and outside of a generation and just happen more often in general. Frankenmania says, I'm old Greg! You are. J. Doc Campos at time mark 1120 in the video I put up 3 months ago. I can't remember anymore. Was wondering when you would stop advertising for logo. But seriously, take the edit was needed because you're using the YouTube space. We all know about your addiction. The first step is admittance. Okay, that's because I had to put logo over the label that was on my cola bottle. And yeah, that's because the YouTube space you put in, when you film something at the YouTube space, or at Hollywood, like here, you have to put it in for approval because you are monetizing a video that was shot on their set using, most likely, their equipment. So then they will sometimes send you a message, like in that case, saying, hey, could you get rid of that logo? And I had forgotten that logo was there probably about 10 minutes into that shoot. And I made a whole bunch of extra work for myself. But I had fun just putting a logo in the front, because I figured, since this is for my YouTube channel and not for like television, if I have to put in the work to edit a logo out, I want whatever I do to be largely noticeable for the most part when it's waving around and following the bottle. Because darn it, I put that work in and it wasn't paid, so y'all are gonna see logo on the bottle. Alex Malik says, I hate to be that guy, But at 2340, it zooms in and you forgot to move the logo sensor thing with the camera zooming. Your logo censoring was in vain. Luckily, no one cares. That's right. By the time we're 2340 in, minutia like that probably just flies under the radar. The intent is clear enough. No cola company is going to feel like I'm advertising for them because their logo like snuck in on the bottom while I was talking about how it's an addictive substance. It gives me endorphin rushes in a chemical way. Andrew Elliott, dear VQnA, what is your favorite type of cake? It's a good kind of thick pound cakey kind of cake, but not literal pound cake. I just like it when it's like a sponge cake, but it's dense. Like good, dense sponge cake with some nice, very mild and thin icing around it, but just real big, cakey, chewy mounds of thick but edible sponge. That's what I like. My friend Jacob, who I wish could be here with me right now, utterly agrees with me. He often says to me, "Hey, you know, I sure would like some of that sponge cake as well for myself," is what he tends to say. The Chad Wokey says, "The production level through the roof." Like, verb. Smiley face, "Dude, love your work, keep it up." Thank you. That last one was a little bit nuts for a VQnA. I kind of toned it down this time. I'm not walking in on myself and saying things. But I had fun editing that. That was good times. Battle Up Saber, when do you think was the best period or time to be a TF collector? There is no better time, my friend. To be honest, I think that we've kind of been in a hovering excellent time ever since around about 2008, 2009. Just when, first in the late aughts, early 2010s, Transformers got a whole bunch of money and took a whole bunch of risks, and then when toys became more expensive to produce, Masterpiece kind of came into its own, and a whole ton of unofficial stuff became available, and after 2013, Transformers as a mainline found more of a rhythm to operate within those new cost barriers, and I just feel like we're still in a pretty darn good time for Transformers. Also, why do you think Aaron keeps insisting helicopters are real? I've never seen one before, so there's like literally no evidence that they're real. Click. That seems like a podcast question. Aaron thinks they're real because he works for Big Propeller, and of course they're going to put money in his pocket every time he says that those things work. Ragin says, "Hello Vangelus, I have been watching your videos since 2010. It started with the animated reviews. I just love your ironic comments in your videos. My question is, could you give me a shout out? A shout out to Rayjin, R-E-Y-J-I-N on YouTube? I don't know if I can do that. My question is, could you give me a shout out? I also do Transformers video reviews, but just in German. And since you said in this Q&A you can understand a bit of a German, I have to say, vielen Dank für deine wirklich großartigen Videos. Videos means videos. And apparently that meant thanks for your great videos. Thank you. Vielen Dank, Rayjin. Sorry, Rayin. Zimman2 says, "You're cute. Will you kiss me?" I'm not easy, buddy. Zimman2 also says, "Just got to your response to my question and just wanted to let you know that came from a combo of some glimpses of really pretentious film critics and one of my Facebook friends who always has really weird readings of movies. Just wanted to be sure I wasn't the crazy one reading those interpretations thinking, what the hell are you talking about?" I think that was about the question where he was asking if people's opinions he read were on the mark. Those people thinking that Shin Godzilla was some kind of pro-military jingoistic media piece that was all up in America and the military and blah, blah. It was stupid. It's a really dumb opinion to have about that movie if you've watched it, but that's all I'll say. I answered that last time. Shadow Scribe, "Hey Vangelus, what video had the fastest turnaround time from purchase to post?" Off the top of my head, I think that was Fans Project Steel Core. I remember that one just happening toot sweet. Michael McLaughlin, Vangelus, you mentioned you were a fan of Make Toys Cross Dimension series. My question for you is, what do you like about this series and what do you expect from them? Personally, I love the overall aesthetic of the figures, the fun, pose, and playability, and the hope for a cross-dimension shockwave. It is, even though it is still borrowing the imagery of the grand IP, it is a company or a line that is putting an artistic spin, a personal artistic spin on those figures and delivering them in a particular anime mecha style that I really enjoy. That and everyone has an ab crunch and is fairly posable as robots. I like the way all that lines up in Cross Dimension. It hits a lot of my tick boxes. Autobot CBL01, who is your favorite movie universe bot? Well, I just saw Transfivemers, so now I'm all up in that Nitro Zeus. Nitro Zeus is a pretty darn good name for a robot, and it's pretty... Actually didn't do a whole lot, but I love that he had a gold chain. I think my favorite movie universe robots are usually just like the weirdo ones that have very clearly defined personalities, like your Bone Crusher, your Nitro Zeus, your Scalpel. I don't know who my favorite would be, though, because half the time I like a movie robot, I'm also making up about half of their backstory in my head. So I'm really not sure. Herugrim666, hello Internet Personality Vangelus, I enjoy your videos and always look forward to more, especially Transformers. What was your favorite childhood Transformer? I really liked Brainstorm, my G1 Headmaster Brainstorm. That was one I always enjoyed transforming. I liked a whole bunch of them. Like, I really liked Wreck-Gar. I liked Ratchet a lot. Big fan of the Target Masters that I had as well. I don't have a good clear answer for this. Really, it was just whoever was in my little G1 collection was part of my little G1 world, and they all kind of occupied similar spaces. Menasor, I think, and Defensor is one of my favorites because I had the full team and they were all in fairly good condition, and I was a kid who cared about that stuff. Let's move on over to the couch to tackle the next major section of this VQnA. Let's get casual. Let's recline. Let's take a seat, if you will, and enjoy some more VQnA. Adam Rockmore, what is the furthest you've ever gone to customize a toy? That would be what's going to be in VPaint 02. That's some of the most customization I've ever done. That is making a dispensing warrior out of a Titan's Return Rewind with a Repro Label set and a new head and gun from Trent Troop's Shapeway store prize inside, with a whole bunch of custom painting, a whole bunch of top coating, and even some priming of stuff. Really breaking through some barriers there. That VPaint 02 hopefully will be something I make sooner than later, but it kind of depends on the state of my camera. T16 Skyhop, is Hoopla a ghost? Unequivocally, Hoopla is a boo. Now, whether or not you think a boo is a ghost is entirely up to you. Andrew Lewis, is one of those his captain's log? Because in the last video there were logs lying everywhere, and he's wondering if it was the captain's log. I'm not a captain. I'm a creator. This is who I am. Cobra Commander TFW, my Andy, says, ooh, shiz! The logo label slips off the bottle in a tight camera pan. Now I know your favorite drink is Dr. Pepper +1, sir, 1! The doctor can go flip himself, is what Dr. Pepper can go do. Because Dr. Pepper is trash garbage, is what it is. It's sewer water. Why would you drink pepper? I know a lot of people do, and a lot of people have given me reasons why, but I don't believe it. There's some kind of chemical addiction thing going on there. Not a good, pure relationship like the one I have with Coca-Cola Zero. Great fresh taste, 0 calories. Kevin McDowell, loved that editing. My question would be, after collecting toys for so long, do you still find yourself getting that kick, like your stolen Chinese toys reviews many years ago? I do get that. Now, I'm trying to figure out what you mean by kick. I do get a kick out of things, just stuff that really excites me. That still happens. Even if it is just a case of happening upon a toy that like a lot of the USA doesn't have yet, but up here in Toronto it just showed up on shelves. It's also things like when the guy who does Mechanauts, Mechazone, David White, sent me one of his 3D printed figures for a review some years ago when I first found out about him. That felt really cool. Review sample things. Anyway, as I was saying, when people send in review samples and stuff, that's also very exciting. When I find figures that I've been looking for and that have been hard to find, when I find a figure that I thought maybe I missed the window on and I find it for a good deal, when people send stuff in for the sake of being reviewed on the YouTube channel I'm running, like all that stuff still kind of gives me a similar kick, like those old stolen Chinese toy reviews. As far as view counts, if I still get like that kind of data kick, I do sometimes. When I, like back when Age of Extinction happened and I got the first video up, if I recall correctly, for Voyager Grimlock. That was quite a punt in the butt, as it were, for view count and those kind of things. So the passion is still there, the excitement is still there for me in toys, and that's actually something I think about a lot, is like, why do I still have that energy that for, you know, friends of mine has clearly ebbed away a little bit? And it's not just because they're all 10 years older than me or anything, like, you know, friends of mine who are younger than me or the same age as me. Like, what is it about toy collecting that really locks me in a way that maybe it doesn't someone else as fully and engrossingly? Queen Stodge says, is that what your living room looks like all year round? Yeah, like we just had this fixture installed here. It makes the desk have a little bit more Dadaism to its vertices, but generally, yeah, this is the living room. You know, it's a bit of a mess, but it's home. Prime 1351 says, if you don't want to review Warbitron Bruticus, why don't you just review the giant knockoff version that scales the Masterpiece figures and apparently has vastly superior tolerances in Gestalt form when compared to its original counterpart? The main reason why I haven't is because usually there's something else I want to buy more, and that thing is gigantic, and I don't have tons of room for gigantic things. I've been tempted by that Jimbao Bruticus, trust me, and it's still something that might happen someday, but I've also thought about, what if I receive that thing and need to make a video for 5 extremely large and somewhat complicated figures I've never messed with, who then have a large and complicated combination? That would freeze everything for a while, and then my poor time management would make it difficult for a constant flow of video to come out. So it's on my mind, but it's it is a thing where if it was a just review it, I probably would, but I don't think that that is how my brain would work. I wouldn't want to just fart out the videos for that thing. Queen Stodge, Vangelus, in your last video, the one that was the last VQnA? Yes, you said this video in brackets. You said you pick and choose instead of buying everything. Do you sometimes find that you can't pick and choose out of a particular wave or line? Oh, constantly. Constantly. I mean, sometimes I just like everything in a wave. Like Titan's Return, I'm generally picking up most every deluxe. But for like the Transformers 5 Premier Edition line, plenty of deluxes in that I just don't want to actually pay money for, like Drift or the Dinobot repaints, or even that Crosshairs or the new Bumblebee. Like the idea of paying $20 to $30 for each of those is a nothing proposition in my head. If I were to find them for like $5 to $10, I might pick them up. But I feel like I should instead finish making videos for their Age of Extinction predecessors that I didn't do videos for, because that would almost accomplish the same thing. Queen Stodge also says, do you think you'll review Takara's Megatronia, Grand Galvatron, or Baldigus? I think I will. I just don't know when, but I think I will. Scott Bergman, logo? Is that a Canadian soft drink or pop? Grats on covering all your terminology, Scott Bergman. It is a Canadian bottle that I was resting my lips upon and sucking the juice out of, is what I'll say. Adam Mitolinsky says, in regards to Filmora, I used the free version for a while to visualize my radio show, so it's fine that the logo appears in watermark on my mostly audio-based stuff. However, those who do not want the watermark will have to pay for the full version. Hashtag pro tip anyway, I found the interface to be nice and simple and really intuitive, and after using Adobe Premiere Pro at college for a while, Filmora seemed to say, behold how uncluttered I feel. However, my conversions and exports did seem to take a while, but that may have been due to my laptop. This seems to be a review in and of itself. Apologies, XD. But yeah, too long didn't read. It's good for amateurs, but you need juice, XD. Yeah, in general, like, when it comes to rendering out or exporting your videos, usually that is a case of your hardware and not your software. It's not like you can just get the expensive software that doesn't have to render. Would you believe, though, that once, when I took a video production course before I went to my little film school shindig, I had a group who got really impatient waiting for things to render and wanted to have layers of terrible filters on everything. And then when I said that rendering is going to be long when you have that many filters, their response was, well, you don't seem to know what you're talking about. They then went and asked the instructor to come over and said, is there some kind of better, more expensive software we can get where we don't have to render the video to watch it? and the instructor gave them a look, but then gave me a far more friendly but pitying look, and I gave him a, yeah, that's who I'm dealing with look. That was an interesting experience. Shane DePayne 3991. This makes me sure thirsty for an ice-cold logo soda. Well, you know, go to your nearest brick and mortar and maybe you can get a hold of one. Count Kaiju, did you go into the Mythic Legion's Advent of Decay Kickstarter? And if so, who did you grab? Also, is Origami Cyclone ever going to return? One more thing, the vehicle from the Predator line is called the Talon Fighter, and the accompanying figure is the Viper Predator. The Viper Predator, I finally have mine, but my Talon Fighter is in another province, and I kind of don't want to bring them to Toronto because I don't know if I'm going to keep them or not. So I don't know what's happening with that quite yet. Origami Cyclone may well return. It's mostly a case of getting my brain up and feeling like doing a full review week of all of the Tiger and Bunny fig arts, and I just don't feel that right now. As for the Advent of Decay Kickstarter, I did go in on it. I got all the vampires. I got 2 copies of the Legion Builder after talking myself out of getting the 10-pack or the 6-pack or whatever. I got whoever that they called the character the Boba Fett of the line, which didn't make sense, but I just thought, who is it? Grisha the Slitherer. And also got Gadriel, the winged Night Lady, and I got what's her name, Heaven's Brand, sister of the other Heaven's Brand guy. I think. Oh, and of course Queen of the Undead and Brother Mandibulus. Those are also in my gets. Captain Slowbro, you've influenced the way I've collected quite a bit. Dumb question, but has anyone in the fandom influenced you in some way? If so, whom and how? I thought about this while I was peeing earlier this morning, and I am not sure, and the thing is that I think I would be incorrect if I said I don't think anyone has influenced me in the fandom, because most probably someone has, and I put some thought into it. I really don't know who I would say directly influenced me in the fandom. I do feel like other video creators influence me in making me feel like types of videos are not dead. Like, you know, every time Thew puts something up and it gets a warm reception, entertainment-focused, personality-driven videos have an audience still. Thank friggin' goodness. Every time someone puts up just like a swathe of more product demo-y reviews, hey, people still don't seem to be tired of the hands behind the camera look. And then, you know, sometimes, I really can't think of an example of this, but I feel like I've seen a type of video get a colder reception multiple times, and it made me feel like, hey, maybe I should start changing something I'm doing. Outside of video making, as far as like taste in Transformers, I really don't know, other than like people introducing me to concepts, but a lot of that happened like a decade ago. So I wish I had a better answer for this, and one that was maybe a little more altruistic and supportive of like other fans, but I really don't know. And I peed a whole long time, let me tell you. That was a 2-liter Coke, well, no, more like a 0.75-liter Coke kind of. I watched the last night and I drank a big soda, okay? Like, that's what you gotta do. Naztalgic, nicely answered flock of questions. That ejection hole let things slide out quite well. Was laughing my ass off. Love the set. I don't remember what the ejection hole is anymore. And I don't like to go and look up my own videos to answer those questions because I more like the idea that at some point I said ejection hole and then forgot about it. So whatever the ejection hole was, I'm glad that it brought some warmth and happiness to your day, my friend. Oblivion's left hand, what's the point of blocking out the logo of your drink if you're just going to name drop it? We all knew it was already Coke Zero anyways. Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I did overdub the first time I said it so that I said soda instead of Coke Zero. That was my attempt to fully cover the front part of the video, but then I decided, well, I don't know when else I said it, and I'm not watching this whole thing again. For an actual question, I've heard you talk about Revenge of the Fallen a couple of times. Every time you and whoever you're talking to, usually the rest of the TFW crew, talk about it, you bring up how everyone randomly appears in Egypt and that scene makes no sense. I have only ever seen the movie once through in theaters, and I distinctly remember Jetfire carving a space bridge into the ground with Cybertronian runes, and the human cast being teleported to Egypt by it and rolling down some cliffs. I'm pretty sure I'm not crazy, and can you think of a reason as to why I remember the scene differently than all of you? I may have seen it in IMAX if that helps. Now, I think when we talk about Jetfire and everyone magically appearing in Egypt, I don't think that's what I've said. I feel like when I'm talking about that, it's more so that they go through a wall in the back of the Aerospace Museum and are in a desert, and then they teleport. Like, teleporting to Egypt, I certainly remember happens in the film. It's more the scenic change beforehand that often is a little shocking. That's my recollection anyway. I haven't looked any of this stuff up. Queen's Dodge says, that guy who answered the question to the whole thought process and written reviews is pretty much the same process that I go through now that there doesn't seem to be much of a reason to do that video. I missed something. I'm also planning to do actual video reviews. What would you recommend for editing on your phone that's free to use? If you have an iPhone, I think iMovie is free. If you don't have an iPhone, then I have no idea, because I've only ever had an iOS device when smart devices came out. Nothing against Android or Windows, it's just that, like, that's the one I had. That's kind of the story of my operating systems, really, is that's the one I had. Loyalty to operating systems is a rewardless endeavor. Pure's G1, you look German as flip. I censored that. He said a swear word. I bet you could pick your father out of 10. I bet I could pick your father out of 10 random dudes. If you're looking for a German man, then I bet you $1,000 you would not be able to pick my dad out of a group of 10 random dudes, is what I'll say. FredBob392, have you played the game Oxenfree or Night in the Woods? Both seem like they'd be up your alley. I really want to play Oxenfree, I just haven't. I saw some kind of quick look at it. Either it was a Giant Bomb quick look or a bit of a Let's Play, and it looked really cool, if I remember correctly, the one that you're talking about. BC. 1. BC actually stands for Bionicle Combiners. Should have specified that early on, but whatevs. 2, as a fellow toy reviewer myself, not big named clearly, do you ever find yourself dealing with a lack of motivation to sit down and record reviews? I find this to be a constant problem with me, maybe due to my lack of proper editing software. I use Filmora and Stop Motion Studio, but any tips and tricks will be accepted. So the thing that got me out of that funk, back when I was just sitting down and recording a review, and then that was that, for the most part, was to end that process and rebuild it. And so now I do my reviews in segments, and I'm able to film pieces of reviews according to however I'm feeling. Like, if I just feel like recording a bunch of articulation segments, which are mostly improv audio, just do a bunch of those. If I don't feel like talking, film all the B-roll that doesn't involve talking. Like, chopping it into segmented, compartmentalized pieces also means you don't have to be 100% on all the time. You don't have to start and finish a project in one take. So cutting that stuff up is my biggest tip and trick. 3, have you ever considered having a channel mascot, or are the subtitles your mascot per the contract? Well, if I call the subtitles a mascot, it turns out they are contractually able, legally, to kill me. So I don't have a channel mascot. This is a weird thing. So here's how my brain works. For some reason, the word mascot really irritates me. I don't know why. It's when people say, what's your mascot? Or whenever someone says mascot, the instant picture in my head is of some kind of giant, bulbous, furry, soft creature with huge googly eyes and like a massive branded t-shirt on. And that's all I think when people say mascot. I think it's because of the arrangement of sounds in the word. Something about mascot like just sounds like just like a skeevy vaudevillian baseball game garbage, like that I'm talking down to the audience. This is my mascot! I don't know why the word sets that off in me. I have a similar story about the word hustle. Something about hustle. Ever since I was like 12, something about the word hustle annoyed me because of the sound of the word and the imagery it conjured in my head. I was fine with run or hurry or jog or sprint or get going, but hustle, and I'm just like, sorry, hustle? No, hustle? I'm not doing anything. I'm staying right here. I don't know why. Same thing with mascot. I don't know why. So it then causes me to not even want to have something that I could call that. These are my neuroses. Tell me a little bit about yours. The Drachlisnard, and I think I pronounced that right. It says, third-party Transformers crossover, Darkwing Duck, bring it. Sure. Phil Bunny says, hey, it's Phil. I miss you, miss me more. And let's chat. I'm in love with a Canadian. Need advice on acid during this post. So that was 3 months ago. And I'm not sure if you sorted it out since 3 months ago. But My advice would be that love conquers all, and persevere, and keep being sexy. That's my advice. CY Now 8824. Mr. Pat Lee, please tell us the story of how you saved the Transformers again. Well, I drew them once, and the world saw my talent and said, hey, I remember the Transformers too. Why did we ever stop that? Bring them back. And I said, well, being Pat Lee, I'll draw them some more. And then I basically saved the Transformers. Joby Reviews, just about the Bionicle thing. The theme recently ended again, so you might have some luck if you want to find some sets for super clearance. Just a note if you're still interested in any of the toys. I think I have let that window, for like the third time in my life, pass right by me again. So I've kind of tried to go cold turkey on Brick in general, because I have so much of it I bought and didn't build over a year and a half, that it is clearly a problem. So I'm trying to just not buy any of it anymore until I figure out what to do with what I've got. Diana Gohan, question, will you ever do a crossover with someone else on Channel Awesome? As I noted, you've been on the site for over half a decade and never crossed over with anyone, not even Taught in the Shadows, and you guys have the Kryn connection. Well, my main thing, which I've mentioned elsewhere before, is I don't like to do cross-collaborative stuff unless I'm there in person with whoever I'm collaborating with. I just don't feel any energy about doing one where I talk to a camera and it cuts to a shot of someone talking to a camera. I don't know really why in detail that doesn't inspire anything in me. It just doesn't, really. But thanks for noticing that I have had videos going up on the Channel Awesome site for over half a decade. I think there are still people managing that site who are not quite sure what the toy videos showing up there are. But, you know, as long as I get my 2 up a month, I think that we're pretty much kosher. The main thing about that is it is not a lot of work for me to pop a couple videos in the schedule, and the extra little bump of like, I forgot the analytics, but the extra little bump of like, you know, this many more views. There's no reason not to. And I've met a lot of fun, creative people through that thing. So it's just kind of like a casual side aggregate thing for me now, and I don't really feel inspired to like push one way or another on it. As for collaborating though, if I am in person with someone at a meetup or a convention or something, I'm a lot more open to it. I just would like to have a little bit of a plan. Like the thing that I shot with Pia and the thing I shot with Matt Burkett of Apollo, Z-Hack, and Monstrosities, like that's the kind of stuff I really liked doing. Check those out if you haven't before. That's my review of First Edition Prime Starscream and my review of Revoltech, I think, Gamera. It's the only Gamera video I've done. So look those up and you'll see what I like to do collaboratively. Charles A. Emmanuel, I completely forgot that I submitted a question. You do know I'm Chuck Dog 1999? I do now. For now. I have trouble connecting names to names sometimes. Percy Constance, who is your favorite IDW original character? Well, to tell you that, I've got to move over to one more seating arrangement. Because when it comes to IDW original characters, really that's a heart-to-heart kind of thing. It can't be as casual as a couch, but it can't be as formal as a desk, so we're going to go lounge style. My favorite IDW original character changes constantly. I'm trying to think now of who I get the most excited about, because I enjoyed greatly the DJD when their story arc was punching the hardest. And I'm trying to think of who's IDW original that is original and not just a very original take on somebody. I guess Rung is one of those, because Rung, you know, Transformers psychiatrist, that's original enough, and he's had enough story that I feel like I've gotten lots out of him, and I'm still excited to see some more. A lot of Kamians, given that a lot of them don't have toys, I guess are original, and usually I enjoy a fresh Kamian hot take on events. Aileron is probably one of my top ones. Aileron's one of the ones where I'm like, I would like to see a figure yesterday of Aileron, please. This is a spoiler for Revolutionaries number 5. Bear that in mind. This spiel is so you can pause the video if you haven't read Revolutionaries number 5 yet. Okay, I kind of dig Centurion, because I kind of dig the whole goofy way that they rolled Hearts of Steel into the main continuity, And the idea that Centurion didn't immediately die in that story is something that I greatly enjoyed. I like the story potential of Centurion, and how, you know, this out-of-time guy who was basically brainwashed into thinking he was Bumblebee for decades, and into thinking he then killed his close friend Optimus Prime. I'm really interested to see how his story plays out now that he's out of the control of you know, all the revolutionary villains, and he's back with normal Cybertronians. Percy Constance, have you been keen to pick up Fans Project Saurus, their Dino King? I have all the parts of him you could get cheap. And because of that, I don't want to pay 70 American a piece for his legs. So I don't know what to do, is my story with that Dino King. Frozen Stratos, are you ready for the new Kamen Rider full action figure saga? Yes! Because I don't know what that is. Percy Constance, did you ever get TFC Uranos? And if so, will you review him? I can wait a Hercules cycle. I did not. I had one Uranos figure, the first one that came out, and I sold him some years back. So currently that is completely not in the books, much like the original non-knockoff Warbitron. Ray Rivera, is there a chance you can get your friend Werner Transferzog to do some more reviews? His symbiotic nature with Transformers really brings out the art of Hasbro or 3P. He is really cutting edge and pushes what we think reviews should be and what they truly are in our cerebral cortex, that teases our uvulas to the point of glee. Werner Transferzog is someone I'd like to work with more. The problem is his own taste and schedules. I don't know if you've heard of a little actor called Daniel Day-Lewis, a man who chooses his roles to the point of waiting years between roles, to the point of having retired once before some of the greatest roles of his life. And he's retired again recently, and I'll believe it when I see him not take up another role sometime a decade from now. That's basically Werner Transferzog, you know? I try to present Werner Transferzog with projects, and all he says is, no. And like, that's it. I'm trying, you know, we want to work together again, but it's really, I can't make the man work. I don't have a big enough knife. Working on that too. The infamous Shade says, sorry if it's been asked, but do you think you're ever going to finish Unique Toys Orden or Generation Toys Gravity Builder? Don't need to, just want to hear your thoughts on the whole sets. Infamous Shade then says, forgot to ask, but how does the rematch with Piaw go down? So the rematch with Piaw is basically like he's not going to see it coming. All right? Because I'm going to see it coming because I'm going to be behind the driver's wheel. And he's going to be the passenger. And if there's one person who's in control of the rematch, it's the one who is in the driver's seat with his hand firmly around the driver's wheel. Someone who's in the passenger seat, they're not going to know what's coming because they can't steer the car. They are along for the ride, whether they know they're in the passenger seat or not. It's not the important thing. If I am driving the car correctly enough, if I am guiding the course of our encounter, there's no way he will even know. He'll think he's in the driver's seat. He'll think when he turns the wheel right and the car goes right, he'll think he did that. That was me turning the wheel right when he turned it, to deceive him. And when he turns the wheel left and the car continues straight forward, he's just going to think it's a technical difficulty. And I will look at him and say, I don't know what's going on, man. I'll be the one who's been driving the car straight forward. I'll be the one who rises to the top. Like the cream of the crop. As for Unique Toys Orden, that is something I would like to do. It's mostly because Hagen, of the two I haven't reviewed yet, Siegfried and Hagen, Hagen is a criminally boring toy that I just kind of don't want to, but I should. So I've been waiting for that right collision of circumstances where I just kind of suddenly make those scripts, and then we go. But if I do the rest of Orden, I'm going to probably try to make it quick and visually punchy as opposed to super detailed. As for the rest of Gravity Builder, I didn't own those first two. Those were on loan, and I sent them back to Chosen Prime after those reviews, so I currently don't own any of Gravity Builder. I'm very interested in Gravity Builder, but I don't get enough fun money income every month to just plop it down on a full-sized $400 to $600 US combiner that I'm only casually interested in. I'd rather put that money towards, if we're just talking toys, usually there's like solo things that come out that I feel like I'm more interested in, and I know I could make a piece of coverage about quicker, and they're also fresher. And then if I'm more responsible, I should probably also just put that money towards like things like savings or whatnot. That's the end of the VQnA published questions. I don't know if there are any other questions out there from like the audience of the room. Does anyone have any questions out there? Anyone in here that would like to know something about the Transformers or video production? I mean, I know you're all in rapt attention at what we're talking about here. But if any of you out there, just anyone here, any questions whatsoever, it's okay, I understand. It can be intimidating. It can be intimidating to think about these things. It can be like standing on a mountaintop with a parachute, but no string. But it's all right, because you know, all of you out there, you are the people who are the future. You are the people who make this world what it is for you. You're the ones who can tell the people in power, who can tell them what you want. And with this single stream of blood running from my eye, I can tell you that I'll see to it that you get a chance to speak with those who wish to you want of to speak to. If you'd like to leave a question for VQnA 5, leave a comment here. VQnA 5 might be something like this. It might be a live stream where I take more questions. It might be me with my phone sitting on a couch. I don't know yet. But I really should take shorter than 3 months to do it, shouldn't I? I have more ideas of what I could talk about, but I should do those in a separate vlog. So this VQnA, thank you for watching, if you were here with us the whole time. And we'll catch you around.